Hey, welcome back. So those of you that tuned into the stream or saw a really long stream not too long ago, literally like a couple days ago from current me's perspective right here and now. Okay, come on. Stop wobble. Stop wobble? Stop wobble. Yay, stop wobble. We're not talking about what's in this box as like the video itself, but I just wanted to point out that I have a couple DD hi-fi adapters, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you do too. For the desktop, this makes a bitchin' holder for your adapters. Because it's kind of nice and pretty. You could stain it, you could paint it, and it's built really fucking well. So I just wanted to toss that out there that I found a really cool use for this little thing. Before we get on to the actual meat and potatoes of this particular review, where the fuck, there it is. Of this particular review, I want to throw a massive shout out to a guy, not just any guy, really cool guy inside of the Discord server. He sent me a series of goodies. This is the Koss 95X. So really quick, and I'm just gonna give you my first impressions of it. Buy it. But there's so many other options out there. What about the BTR5? This is literally one of the most impressive to me app having Bluetooth DAMP stack amp combo. And it is one of the best implementations of the current popular ESS Saber DAC chipset in the BTR5, the channeling up 4. This is amazing. And I'll have a whole video, minus the BTR5, unless someone wants to give or toss to me for an extremely extended period of time. We're talking months, which not many people can do. Of time, or if y'all all want to get together and be like, hey, let's toss this asshole some money. You know, like get like 20 people together and put like $2 in a pot each. You know, just to help cover the cost. Or send me like Amazon gift card code type things over. Get with me over in Discord. DMs are always open. So sans that, minus that, the video eventually will be of the 5K of the channeling up 4 and the Radson ES100, and hopefully I'll try to get everything all jumbled up together and get either record the app or find a way to record what I'm doing on the apps. But if you were to ask me which one I think is the best bang for the buck, it is done the best. If you're asking me which one I prefer in sound, that'll have to wait to the actual video. I know, I'm a dick. I mean, I'm more of an asshole, really, but, you know, gotta fuck some stuff sometimes. Anyway, not only did Ken give me that, he gave me not one, but 2 mint pairs of the Sony MH755s. They're... okay, I understand the hype now. I don't understand why Sony had the most disgustingly short cable I've ever seen on any device. I don't know. Works really well with a Bluetooth DAMP. So, oh yeah, he also gave me this cute little polyform IEM case. Feels nice. I like it. So, yeah. Ken, thanks, man. You really didn't have to. I don't know why you feel indebted to me. I mean, you explained part of the situation, but what you have done for me, that goes like way above and beyond the Call of Duty. That is audio bro levels of stuff. Thank you so much. I love this thing. You have given me what is now currently one of my most favorite devices. Yet, for now, as of September 28th, 2020, 11/18, that is one of my most favorite devices, for reasons we'll get to whenever I do that video. Comment in the description down. Comment in the description down below. Oh god, I'm retarded. Comment in the commenting box down below. Tell me if you absolutely demand it, and if I need to do a quickie schlicky style sort of demi review video, I'll do it. So, I'm trying to get back in the swing of doing videos, and I have wasted approximately 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Well, I haven't done the intro yet. So, okay, so like 5 minutes and 6 minutes of your time. You see the title. I know you've seen the title. I haven't done the title yet, but you see the title. You know what we are talking about today. La, da, da, da. Butt face. And, little bit of my sads bro there. So, it'll be alright. Feels good, man. This is the Koss ESP95X. Part of this review was made possible by, thank you armchair for the proper terminology and phrasing that I needed to use, was made possible by Dekoni. I'm just as surprised as you are. I mean, that, like, Dekoni was cool with sending me some pads. These are their only aftermarket pads for the 95X. And I'm not saying this because they gave me free pads. I told him straight up, man, I bought some pads that I'm so hella excited for. I don't know if I'm going to like your pads, but I'm glad you rose up to the challenge that I laid forth was, is this better? Is this worth the money? Yeah. I mean, we'll get into that all in due time, but if you wanted to know really quick and easy, these pads are worth every fucking penny, in my opinion. They're really good. I also have these pads that come straight from Koss. They're like $5. They're like really fucking cheap. Straight from Koss. There's something weird going on with my gamma. Sorry, not gamma, screen brightness is what I'd meant to say. Fixed it. On my end, you're probably not going to see a damn thing happen on your end. Where the fuck did I put those pads? I quite literally had... Oh. I'm the dumb. I had them in a box. So I also have, not a shocker, the stock velour pads, and one of the single most expensive, fucking outrageously expensive, add-on commodities I think I've ever bought. Yep. These are the Vespa audio pads. These are their hybrids. Not actually hybrid. Hybrid as in, this is Alcantara here. Solid leather here, here. Sheepskin as far as I can tell. Sheepskin here. And this weird netting. I might totally rip this out. I don't like it. And I know you see this here. This is part of why these win so phenomenally well in my book. So we are literally now cresting upon the 10-minute marker. The go, no go for the Koss ESP 95X. Well, this should really be of no surprise to any of you Yes, this is a vehement go. If you are wanting to figure out what electrostatic is,
But Farsil, you don't know what a real electrostatic sounds like.
first of all, fuck you, you're correct. Second of all, only in the perspective of headphones. No, I'm not calling them ear speakers. You see, I used to work in home theater. I've actually had multiple experiences with Martin Logan ESLs, or their electromotion line of speakers. Yes, I know I've had some experience with electrostatic. Who'd have fucking thought? Well, anyone that asked, really. So, yes, I do have a modicum of experience, at least via proxy, at minimum. And using that, I can tell you that so much dog fur everywhere. You shed so much, baby girl. No, you just waggle your tail at me. You're adorable. I love you. Love you so much. Oh, I'm so sorry. She's getting the pets. You can probably hear it. Oh, she's getting the pets. Good girl. So, yes. Back to it. Sorry. That was a bit of a digression there, huh? Yes, this gets a vehement go. Easily in my book, this is one of the best, if not the best, representation of a brand new, not having to rely on anyone taking care of it prior, not having to rely on stock or your eBay prowess. This is a great way to get into electrostatic headphones. I swear to God, if you correct me and say they're ear speakers, I'm gonna reach through the internet and back end you and show you what ear speakers actually look like. And I'm not gonna show you stacks. Those are headphones too. Fuck you. Just because they're Japanese and they like using weird names doesn't exclude them from my hate. If it encapsulates the ear, it is a headphone. If it does not encapsulate the ear and literally near fields some audio panels, congratulations, that is a speaker mounted to thine ears. Thus, ear speaker. Stacks and these are not ear speakers. And if you tell me they're just comfort pads, I'm getting way too worked up on my own for this imaginary aggressor that I'm inventing in my head that will surely show up in the video. Just comment section. I wasn't joking when I said I was working myself up. That's kind of sad. It's just tea and cream. I really like oolong tea with heavy cream. So, this gets the go. These are really, really great. How are they really, really great? Can you quantify qualitatively what the sound of an electrostatic system is? And to that I will say yes, but man, we've gone on for almost 13 minutes and there is no music playing, and that kind of bothers me. Hold, please. The music, by the way, The Midnight. We're going to be going through the album Monsters, followed by the Midnight remixes, Nocturnal, and in the summer. I really don't think I'm going to be that long. But yes, I read somewhere that The Midnight is totally cool with their music being used like this, at least in stream, so long as you credit them. The same goes for Christodoulou, if I'm not mistaken. So, thank you, The Midnight. Go check them out at bandcamp.com. They have amazing music. No, I'm not sponsored. They allow people to use it. It's really good goddamn vaporwave music. If you paid attention to the long goddamn stream last time, I played a lot of their music. So, yes, these are a go. These are fantastic. The best way to describe their sound is... the only way I was really able to describe it quickie inside of Discord was when someone asked, how can you describe it? I told them I really can't, not easily. But the easiest way to do so would be to say it is blindingly fast. You can get planar magnetics. Yes, planar magnetics. Look it up. You can get planar magnetics that get damn near close. You could spend a shit ton of money and get even closer. But there is something about the way the electrostatic systems work in and of themselves. The best way I can think to describe the characteristics of the sound as a package, outside of just saying they're fast, is it is etherealistic, it is phantasmal in its presentation, it is magical in what it does. There is sound all around you, in the machines you use, in the clickety-clacks that you fiddle around with. The Energizer breathes life into the diaphragm, allowing it to dip its proverbial fingers into the aether that is this web of sound, and it summons it forth in only the most phantasmally ethereal representation of itself to display it to your ears. I know that's really artsy-fartsy. Going to my usual formula, the bass is, with stock, if you do what I did to these, and that is really bend the fuck out of the headband, because they're weightless. They just sit on your head. I don't like that. I want to know something is there. I like a little bit of clamp, just something. So, yes, I forced the clamp to happen. I even kind of canted these inwards, outwards, kind of just depending on my mood. Once I found a happy height, and you want your ears about in the center, your ear hole anyway, you want to center them in these, because not being centered, it's a massive bitch. But yes, once you get them nice and tight and snug, not too snug, the bass is actually, with the stock velour pads, kind of impressive considering it's not moving a lot of air. And one of the best things I've paired it with was the Zen DAC from hifi, or IFI, however the fuck you pronounce that name. I did try the Bellari audio exciter type thing. I did not like it. Dave, I'm glad you like it. But oh boy, did that break the sound of these things, in my personal opinion. I didn't have a whole bunch of time, but both me and the guy I was with, Sa, S-A, I'm just gonna call you Sa. Sa, dude, Sa. We both agreed that it horrendously broke the sound. Go with something like the hifi Zendak. The true bass is sumptuous. So much so that when turned on, will vibrate these atop your noggin, proper like. And for you normal folk getting into this for the first time, to finally get a taste of what, honestly, comparing to a lot of other shit, is hi-fi. You can call it mid-fi all you want, audio cunts be gone. For the normal folk out there, this is hi-fi. I'll have a video about that perspective later on. Getting onto this, you are going to experience what is relative to you and many people what will be a hi-fi experience. Not a mid-fi, not a low-fi, a hi-fi experience from that perspective. And it's going to be very jarring because the bass is not voluminous. It doesn't have a large quantity. It is fast, almost dry without being arid to the proverbial auditory palate. It stays just moist enough. Moist. Love that word. it stays just moist enough to never touch arid, but it never gets wet enough to have ample body. It stays within the realm of moist and quick, but not sloppy. Its detailing is rolled off, and I think still one of the most detailed basses is going to still have to go to the GT3 Super Bass, followed by the Tipsy Dunma Pro and the Fudai. Not exactly in that order, just ad hocing. Or the DT880s, 600Rs. R is resistance, is ohm, is impedance. Certainly a higher quality bass than the LCD2 Classics. It's very vehemently detailed, and once you get used to it, the fun factor comes up. Once you understand and your mind is able, break-in is like 2 different things, maybe 3. It is literally device break-in. You're telling me it's not? I have a pair of repaired DT990 Pros right here, brand new driver on the left side, old ass, almost 7-year-old driver on the right side. Break-in is a fucking thing, and not just from an impedance matching sort of thing. That was full-on break-in. So yes, you have physical device break-in. Electrolytic capacitors kind of break in to an extent. The traces might oxidize, not the best thing. Everything breaks in to an extent. Will you notice it? Don't know. I think the most thing you will ever notice in a break-in will be the driver itself. It moving, all of the polymers wearing and breaking in and just aging. Then you have mental break-in. You have to get used to it to begin with. You have to know what the hell you're listening to and understand it. The Audio Voyager 3s, I vehemently hated them initially, but after breaking in my head hole, in my ear holes, I was able to perceive and understand them better, and getting off of a very bass-heavy anything makes it exceedingly difficult to do so. So when you get these, and it is immediately jarring to you, let's say you get the pads and the whole shebang, and it's immediately jarring to you, it's okay, calm down. You will get used to it. You will be able to understand. Start really loud. Edge it down as you start to gain fatigue. Edge it down, edge it down, edge it down. Use a preamp. Set the energizer to what would be effectively the very loudest, or nigh on distortion levels. Not at, but nigh on. And then edge it back to a comfortable listening volume on the preamp or whatever you're using to adjust the gain of the headphones themselves. Like the Liquid Spark is what I have it going through, and I use the throw of the Liquid Spark amp to do its thing. When I plug in headphones, it stops getting signal. Bring it down slowly. Let your acoustic reflex get hammered, and then relax it slowly and slowly and slowly, and then just listen to some really bassy tracks. AES DNA, Yoshi Horikawa, The Midnight Gunship, Christodoulou, that made the Risk of Rain 1 and 2 soundtracks. Stuff like that. Stuff that's actually genuinely bassy. And it'll help you transition into these sorts of things. If you're not sure if your music is actually bassy, go into the Discord. Invite in the description below. Put up my layout, and you'll actually be able to see what's going on with the music. There'll probably be a video about that sort of shit later. So I've droned on a bit. And that was all I feel relevant, because the bass initially wasn't outstanding to me, but as I got more and more and more used to it, I broke in mentally and auditorially, hearing-wise, to the type of bass. I can tell you that yes, it is reasonably very detailed, considering it's moving almost no fucking air. And it has a sense of permeability to the sound that maintains that etherealistic, phantasmal quality, but it's just so warm and comforting, and it has a body unique to itself, and the different pads will give you different levels of that body that we'll get into after the fact. The mids, on a stock experience, the mids, and we're talking about the stock experience here, the mids are pushed more forward. And throughout the entire experience, you're going to notice a lack of body that you're used to, a lack of wetness and voluminous essence or substance to the essence of the sound that you're hearing. You're hearing just this phantasmal essence, but no real oomphy substance therein. It's so gentle and persuasive. It just gently crashes into you like a afternoon breeze, ever so slightly warm, but just a little bit cool to the crest of the epidermis. And it kisses you with this audio it's summoning forth. And it's still very, very fast, just as fast as with the bass, and the muddying that can happen in terms of cross-frequency band, what's that word? Interpolation? Intermingling, we'll call it. Unless it's something terribly egregious or is just recorded poorly to begin with, you weren't going to really catch it, except for at blindingly high volumes and with different pad options. There is a substantial degree of separation between the bass and the mids. Likewise, going into the treble, there is substantial separation, and with the stock experience, the mids, parts of the middle mids, the upper mids, and just into the lower treble, and maybe fleeting amounts of the mid treble are, it's kind of, the graph won't show it, but it's emphasized like, kind of like that, where there's weird little steps on this plateau that effortlessly move across the gamut. It's exceedingly gentle, and it's not harsh, and it's only ever sibilant if the music is just inherently, hellishly sibilant. Sibilant. And it just, it crashes an even more cooler sound of breaths of sound. And the whole package as it ties together, other than the words that I've used continuously, etherealistic, phantasmal, ghostly, if you want a much more layman term, the best way to describe from top to bottom, bottom to top, is simply, delightfully, deliciously, addictively effortless. The sound is purely, wholly effortless. It's a delight to behold. And I dare say, if you wanted more treble, you could pull this off. Go for a lower density foam, one that also doesn't bow out like this. That is so really hard to see. Okay, I was gonna have to show this off anyway. See how that bows out? That is exceedingly annoying. Now, I bought these used from Hi-Fi Dreams, and he actually took exceedingly good care of these things. So, nothing against that gentleman there at all. He got me a hella deal, so props to that crazy SOB. I would surmise that taking this off would potentially over-brighten, but I gotta tell you, it would more than likely bring it up to basic Stax level of detail. Just guessing, because I've played with tuning material like this on a plethora of other devices, and precisely this is what kills a lot of the detail for me, and this is what quells or squelches a lot of the painful auditory qualities for me. And the cool part about buying these pads from Koss that are like 5 bones is they come with these. It looks almost... Let me bring it closer to my face. Maybe a slight bit more dense, if not exactly the same. And it's just loose. So if you want, you could put it in, slide it up against, and shblow. There you go. You have your dampened stuff. Oh, I got some schmutzing on it. God damn it. Fuck. My desk is not safe. Like most other people, I eat at my desk, and sure enough, when I was horfing down some food, I got some schmutzing on it. Really should put those in a plastic bag. We are talking about effortless, etherealistic, phantasmal, ghostly sound coming just stock floors. That's the best way I can describe, other than the detail, and it's not got the trademarks of a dynamic or a planar magnetic, where the attack is sharp and almost piercing, where there is that percussive hit akin to rapping on a cymbal, or here, like you just heard. There is that initial slamming of the driver against the air, generating a sound wave as it moves along its X-max on its excursion. And there's that pop, that instantaneous moment. These don't have that. And I can't tell, and I'm probably going to get ballsy later. And I'm going to test by taking this off and see if that comes back. And I'm going to wait till it's almost assured that I'm going to get this entry-level stack system. Yeah, that's right, I'm getting a stack system. I'm going to test to see if that is what I think it is that is going on, and if there are any other interdelineations that I could use, such as this mesh, to protect it, while not compromising the sound, because anything in front of the driver will compromise the sound. But going off of my experience with Martin Logan's, there was indeed that snap, but that was a massive driver in comparison. But going from memory, it wasn't the same. It was an exceedingly high detailed snap. Like with the ADV Furai, it was impeded or dampened in such a fashion that the initial touch where intention meets the sound itself, I forget the eloquent way in which I described it, but where physics and intention collide to create sound, there is no birthing of that sound. It is just a fractional moment behind that, and it pulls that little bite off and rolls it thusly to make it a much more gentle, even when it is egregiously painful, like with Cher's Believe. It can still be egregiously painful in that respect, but it is not... There is no initial pain. There is no initial tactility or texture to that sound. It is just... First there are ones and zeros, and then there is a signal, and thus there is sound. It just is effortless. And in my later times, I will see if modding these will go to prove this to be a fact. And surely, more mint systems that have this far more flush up against the driver will see this to be probably having more of a snap, more of a bite to the sound. Because when you add air, air is a great insulator. Especially with something like this that just loves to diffuse audio signals, any signal, really. I'm pretty sure it would sound a bit snappier, a little bit spicier, pricklier, and a little bit less gently effortless in its presentation. Needed some nicotine. So, we're getting to the pads. I know some of you are angry, and you can always fast forward. Maintenance would have you open these up from time to time to remove the hair and the dust, if you are a hairy particular person. or if you have a pupper like me or a kitty cat. 4 screws, here and here, here and here. This may void the warranty, so read your warranty. And it just poops out. The 3 strands of the cable are attached, and you can clean out. There is a felt dampening material behind this grill. This grill is friction set in, so do be careful not to press directly on the grill. Try to grab it when you do the pad thing, like that, or reinsert this. There's little grooves for this, but it is well protected, and you can gently, with a dry, barren mouth, blow against these. Or you could use a air compressor if you have an arrestor, something to exceedingly limit the flow of air to almost nothing. A very gentle breeze is what you want to remove the dust and hair and debris that is inevitably going to enter onto these things, which would be a benefit if I actually did end up taking this off, which I probably will, is that I would have better access to a more thorough cleaning, because eventually hair and dust and debris is going to permeate this foam, or it's just going to get clogged, and that will definitely over impede the sound, and you will see a decay or a rolling in the perceived detail therein. So I've gone over the sound characteristics of this fully stock, so I need not really go over this pad. This is the stock pad it comes with. It's kind of comfy. It's designed to break the seal. Yes, you want it to break the seal because this is a very gentle membrane on the diaphragm. Later. These. I want them to change the design so very much. Take this Alcantara here. Do what Yaxipad did and do a dual side. Do this for one side, do this for the other side. Perforate it. Not large perforations. Maybe very fine ones with a velour inner. Or a leather backing, maybe. What I've done here is to defeat what the fuck is going on here on the leather. It pushes parts of the upper mids and the lower trebles and segments of where the lower and the mid treble meet, like with cymbals and whatnot, and not chugs, but strums of the guitar, like that sort of stuff, the body of the guitar notes. God, they come out so forward and fast and harsh that it was so fucking uncomfortable to listen to. It was one of the single most comfortable fucking pads I've ever used, with a sound signature that made me unhappy. I spent $120, maybe $110 after taxes and shipping. And I bought this from Darren Fong, I believe his name is. He is not the person that makes these. Vespa makes these. They're a Ukrainian company. He is just a reseller of them for the States and has a hard time keeping them in stock. Really should leave a lot longer of a buffer when I swap to the next thing, because the stitching on this stock program is so shit. It loses several seconds of audio and video. God damn it, they're so comfy, and they make a great seal. And with this, or with the much more stiff felt you can get from the Mayflower mod, the very, very stiff, aggressive felt that I have sitting over here for just such an occasion. The stuff that doesn't want to bend, type of stiff felt, brings back, the softer and floofier it is, the less aggression there is to the sound, the more you're trapping of these mids and highs, and the more you're bolstering the bass. This particular setup, and this is Presto Felt, I'll try and find links, it gets it so close to my target, it's not even funny. My personal target, it is, oh god, it makes the bass voluminous. It brings a bit more than damp wetness to it, so the body of the bass is just delightful, and the mids follow suit happily, and it's enjoyable. and it's comfortable. But I have heard reports, because these actually make a proper seal, and without modification there is no venting, it is dangerous to these, because you'd be over pressurizing the inner chamber, and potentially slowly, over the period of years, perforating the diaphragm. Terrifying, right? Realistically, you could probably just drill a hole into these things, but if they were to make perforated leather, very fine perforations on the leather side, and maybe slightly larger perforations with an Alcantara side, and perforations all throughout, or even better, probably a velour exterior, or very highly perforated Alcantara, that would probably completely, if not totally, remove the issue of the standing pressure waves feeding back onto the driver diaphragm itself and damaging the membrane. Now, I have talked to the wonderful person that has sent me these Dekoni pads. Sir, sorry for the sudden cut. Ah, man, that was an awesome sneeze. So I issued a challenge to Dekoni saying, hey, I would like to compare your pads up against the Vespa audio pads and my redneck solution of literally putting on a Brainwaves XL, and you could realistically use probably a Dekoni XL, any XL size pad, about 110 to 120 millimeters in diameter. And it gives you a better seal, and it gives you all that body. And my favorite go-to, how at that time, was the micro suede. Not too much pressurization. The velour is a really good option if you want to keep more of the stock sound but have a better fitment and an easier way to center your ears on the diaphragm. And he took me up on that challenge, and part of this review, this is the part of that review made possible by the good folks at Dekoni, because the Brainwaves option with the XLs is significantly cheaper. Even if you get the Dekoni XLs, is not quite as equally as cheap, but pretty close. What happens with the Brainwaves XLs is you get about this thickness. Oh, that's another thing that should have been done with these Vespa pads. Lower the thickness by almost half. Maybe a little bit less than half, actually, now that I look at it. Like, lowered by a quarter. Is you lose this proximity of... What a fucking douche. Fuck off. Woke the pupper up. It's okay, baby girl. That asshole just rumbling around with his fucking gar. Stupid dick. It's okay, baby. You lose a portion of the detail due to not having that proximity effect. So though the body of the bass is increased, the detail is slightly lower. The detail on everything is slightly rolled. But it is an enjoyable sound, and if you wanted closer to this, unfortunately using the leather or sheepskin leather pads from Brainwaves is an option, but it's exceedingly uncomfortable. It pressure points down here and up here where it wants to do like this thing because you're deforming the pad. But it works, especially with velour or micro suede. Outside of that, these won the challenge. These were my fun target, the Vespa pads. These are vocal emphasis. The stock pads. The Dekoni pads, my mainstay pad. In a word, resolution. Yes, these offer the single best perception of resolution. The perforations on the leather, the fenestrations, give you a... nasally sounds, I had to cut those out. Give you just enough refraction and reflection of the sound that's going on that's kind of popping away from the side of your head. And they're just slightly more closed in, I think. Maybe ever so slightly more closed in.
maybe not. The audio that hits the sides that goes into your ear canal hole, it's crisp, but it's not overdone. It's rolled in all the right spots. It's given a gentler but still very stern or terse sway in the mix of things. And the perception of resolution is exceedingly delightful, and my redneck solution just was not up to par. Getting close to these, if you are familiar with the proximity effect, the closer you are to these things, the better the bass. Same thing with mics. The closer you are to some of these larger diaphragm mics, the better the bass is. And this does that. This brings a certain fortitude to the wetness, elevating it just a hair above moist, and bringing back some of the body. It brings a crispness to the mids and a sheen to the treble. And I perceive a greater sense of overall resolution. These are delightful and are currently my go-to. Easy go-to. I love these pads. So Dekoni, thank you for taking me up on my challenge. You have officially and unequivocally, so far, won this challenge. Because I even told him, and this is about 2 weeks... 2 weeks late! Over 3 fingers. 2 weeks late. Because I told him I was waiting on some stuff and waiting to get pads in. When I finally did get these pads, it was late in the day last week. So I was like, I'll do it on Saturday. Then I got the DT990 driver, and I was like, fuck it, gonna do a stream. I want to fix those headphones. After a 6-hour stream, I was fucking knackered, and I passed out all through Sunday. Fortunately, it reset my sleep cycle, so, that worked out. These are $5. And if all you have is $5 to get you closer to this sound, they sound like a $5 version of that. But Farsil, you're just saying that because you were given free $80 pads. Bitch, I bought $110 pads and I had to modify them. Fuck you, first of all. Second of all, I respect that. I get it, because it sounds like I'm shilling them. And in a sense, I am shilling them, but from the heart. I mean genuinely what I say. I spent a very long fucking time with these, and they have been exceedingly patient with me. Never once demanding for the time. They just wanted to hear my feedback, and I gave them an email with my feedback requesting to let me suggest making a pad, and they said they actually got with drop on these, and they're not interested in doing that because they'd be such a niche product. That made me sad. So, these Koss pads, if all you've got is just that little bit, these sound a little bit like that. They sound like $5 versions of that. I'm not joking. Like, it's not that good. It's not that great. It's a little too thin, actually. Yeah, there you go. So, really, this only needs to be downsized by, like, a quarter of its normal height. And that would be awesome. The Vespa pads. These are just too short. So if I were to remove this foam here and go with the foam that it came with and just insert it, I would probably be a lot happier. But constantly touching this just does not feel the good. I don't like it. So if you have big old Dumbo ears, stick with the stocks or stick with the Dekonis. With the stocks, sew on, adhere on a different material. Yeah, you can do that. Yes, it totally fucking works. Come on, look at the Vespa pads. Case in point. But these are... they're $5. Why not get them and listen for yourself? You might actually enjoy the sound more, but the perception of the resolution, the perception of the bass, everything felt haphazard. It felt like $5 Dekoni pads. The sound felt like $5 Dekoni pads. They didn't egregiously hurt the sound, but they didn't do the sound any favors. They did flavors, tons of flavoring, not all of which were of a delightful variety. Yeah, they're a good oh shit pad, but that's really about it. We've talked ad nauseum about the characteristics of the sound, and we've talked about the emotive response that I perceive or receive from these different pads and the headphones themselves. What about the other details? The stage, the imaging quality, and the delineations therein. Alright, well, let me get a little bit more tea and we'll talk about this. Oh, Kuma, you send me the best tea ever. Oolong tea with heavy cream is a delight. With the velours, the stage is... It's going to be a weird description, but it's going to work. FFS-ently large. It's bubbly, but it can simmer down and congeal, or just not be as outward, so to speak, or so to say, rather, I think, might be the proper terminology. It's not the largest stage or the tallest stage, but it is a large stage. It's above average, not for the price point, but at an absolute scale, it's above average, and it is a relaxingly, or a relaxed, large-ish size to the stage. That dog is barking again. Oh god, please stop. Just take your dog inside. And stop leaving your dog outside. You assholes. I'm tempted to go out there and build the little dogs a shed. With the El Cheapo Fuertes. Kind of whitish, kind of narrowish. I really couldn't listen to them long enough because I really didn't enjoy the sound. They just sounded like cheaper Dekonis. With the Vespa pads, very tight, a more narrow stage. Imaging ticked up somewhat due to the narrowing of the stage, so the interdelineations of the imaging, I would say that the perceived quality of the imaging takes an uptick. The imaging on the stock pads is reasonable. It's, again, slightly above average. I gamed with all of these options, except for the El Cheapos, and I didn't have too much of an issue. Because of the gentle rolling in the detail, or the perceived detail of the treble, with a B, not a V, it was doable. This was more focused and concentrated, but the more narrow stage kind of threw me off. I could get used to it, but I didn't enjoy it nearly as much. This was the Dekoni pads here, and again, comparing against my redneck solution of the Brainwaves XLs or any XL pads that are in, same concept, slightly more spaced out, a bit more narrow of a stage, but a bit deeper of a stage. The Vespers felt a little less deep than that. These certainly weren't as deep. The stock pads weren't as deep, but were far less narrow. These Dekoni pads are the best mix between depth, width, and height. And the delineation, the interdelineations of the imaging quality, I did say these were the resolution pad for me. It relativistically, not absolute, but relativistically skyrocketed in comparison. And that is, again, comparing them to my redneck solution with the leathers, the sheepskins, or the pleathers. Much better. Significantly better. The relativistic, or absolute scale, still really good. We're talking DT880 without the bite of the attack. We're talking similar to the Ether CX without that weird over-impeded sound that that little cotton or poly something tuning pad on the exterior of the driver plate exterior, the baffle. Significantly good delineation of imaging. These are almost unfair at lower volumes or moderate volumes on something like Modern Warfare. You will have the advantage. Watching my anime, my movies, my television shows. Just a great sense of imaging, a reasonably large, reasonably deep, reasonably tall stage. Again, just above average on an absolute scale, on a relative scale. Kind of sits at average-ish. I've not had a lot of examples, and by far one of the widest headphones I've had, and it's less, are the DT880s so far. So, about average on an absolute scale, above average on a relative scale. Because the technology type kind of makes this a really hard judge, and I'm not the best at imaging stage, or the next upcoming thing, the tonality. The tonality, at least the detail of it. You okay there, Mutt? What was that? The tonality feels okay. In my weird perception of tonality, nothing reaches out and screams, "This is wrong!" That was loud. "This is wrong!" And nothing immediately reaches out and screeches that to me. So, I would say that the tonality should be relativistically acceptable, but on an absolute scale, if you're that picky, go fucking buy a Stax. Or something just different. So, relativistically, to my knowledge and everything I've used so far, nothing reaches out and exclaims to me easily that, hey, this is wrong. So, if you're not very picky about your tonality, you should be fine, I would surmise, and even hazard a guess as to such. If my bidding on the Stax set, it looks like it's going to be smooth sailing. All I'll have to do is get an adapter for this, for the Energizer that it will be coming with, because it is a Pro Bias, and these work on Pro Bias. I should, most definitely, have no problem comparing it to on a Stax Energizer, something some of the other reviewers have not yet done. Yeah, with, along with one of the best introductions into Stax headphones. Again, I'm not calling them ear speakers, we've been over this. The only thing I haven't shown off is how to put these pads back on. So, this little inner seam, I like putting the seam at the top, so that it doesn't touch the earlobe. So, there are two ways of doing this, and I will do it one way on the left side, and the subjectively easier way on the other side. So, we're going to go in kind of like that. See how I'm on the side of the pad here? And we're going to roll it back a little bit and try to center this little notch at the top, that little bundling of the leather. And we're just working on the inside. You can see my glove there. We're working on the inside and the outside simultaneously. Just like that. And this gets a lot easier the more you do it, not just from an experiential standpoint, but from working in these materials, from that perspective as well. Ta-da! So here's the other way, because yes, they do detach. Same thing as before, we're going to go at the top. Please note, brand new, the yoke, or the fork, and the yoke assembly might only move that far. The fact that mine move out that far is because I've technically broken them and I've had to open them and take out the little plasticky bit that fell off on the inside, so do be careful. However, if you don't care about that, because you're a child like me, well then awesome. So, there we go. We're going to get this top bit all situated nice and happy. Hold it like this. See how I'm not pressing on the back of the cup? I learned my lesson the hard way the first time around. And there we go. Use your fingernail or a pry tool or a thin spudger to work the parts in that don't want to just follow suit. You can also do a little gyration. A little wiggle, 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 wiggle. No, I'm not going to say that song. Do it in your head. And then, boop. In theory, you could use Stax forks. And Stax does sell the headphone assembly, or the headband and fork assembly. So in theory, And I'll know if I get those headphones in, whether or not that'll work. Yeah, I know, I almost slipped. Shut up. So I'll know for sure. The build quality itself, I know people harp and say like, oh, it's floppy, it's flimsy, it's cheap. Yeah, for $500, if you're really gonna bitch and complain, yes, it is cheap feeling. The whole idea is this is not an easy fucking technology to make possible. From a construction standpoint to a building standpoint, whole 9 yards, this is not an easy thing to do. They have to cut a corner somewhere. So for $500 with an Energizer, with this, and it works, and it's one of the single best introductions into electrostatic devices, shut up! Jesus Christ. On a more gentler side of things, seriously, I get what you're saying, but come on, temper thy expectations. You have to have a balance somewhere. The Energizer is kind of annoying. The cable is not the best, but it serves its purpose, and the extension cable it comes with you can get modified, or you can just buy a modified extension cable. Getting it modified might be cheaper, depending on if you can do it yourself or not. I don't know. Build quality is honestly kind of fine. It comes built in with... You could see it there. See how it's a little bent? That is for built-in swivel. These are meant to swivel just a teensy bit. And overall, a little bit flopsy, but considering the technology and that they've made it that affordable, because yes, even like the price that they're at, around $500-600, that is exceedingly affordable in even an absolute scale. Like, you just don't buy that new graphics card, you don't buy that new monitor, you don't buy those new peripherals, you get this. You're set. I think what you get is fair. These are an amazing set of headphones, and I'm very happy with them. Yeah, go out and get them. I think they're very much worth your time, but if you're not sure, look online on eBay or other places. You know, swap meet type places. Forums. See if there's a way for you to get something that's vintage from stacks. Although, keep in mind, vintage from stacks, the poly forms, the polymers, they're going to be aged, and they're going to be exceedingly brittle. And that's not even mentioning the diaphragm itself. It's a polyform, or a polymer, in and of itself. Age turns them brittle. Eventually, it's just either going to degrade into dust, or it's going to fracture. That's what happens. With these, they're brand new in the least, and these make great modding candidates after the warranty is gone and said and done. And if you stray away from the Vespa pads, you shouldn't have issues with damaging or perforating the diaphragm, in theory, so long as you're not stupid about how you use them. Yeah, these are an easy sell, an easy go. I can tell you right now, if you want to get into it and you have the spare money and you're genuinely interested, the resale value on these is also reasonably high as well. So, yes, I really enjoy these. Again, I cannot thank you enough, Dekoni, for giving a tiny little schmutzin like me help. And I will be more than sure to take you up on your offer to compare other pads. I just hope you're okay with me taking my time, because that's what I do. I like to think I've given the most thorough review, and although I may not be the most technical, at least not from the sound, from the technology standpoint, I'm probably one of the most technical out there. But I'm focusing on how it sounds. How does it feel to listen to the sound? Which is what I, as an audio freak, don't call me an audiophile. Calling me an audiophile is calling me a cunt. Because a lot of audiophiles are cunts. Not all of you out there. Love you, children. Just a large margin of you. I'm an audio freak. I love sound for the sake of sound. I am enamored with sound for the sake of sound. Sound means the world to me. And I love sound. Vehemently so. And that's what I try to focus on, is how do I perceive the sound? What does it feel like? What is the texture? So on and so forth. So, I do believe I've drug on quite enough. This is going to be a very long video. But one I am finally happy with. This was going to be a drunky review. No. Not going to be a thing. Thank you all, my beautiful children, for tuning in for what is yet another novella put in movie form. Because I'm pretty sure I've hit damn near full-length movies in terms of size. Maybe just like the Saturday special, 40-something, 50, 60-something minutes. Have a beautiful morning and a lovely afternoon. And a pleasant evening. May you travel far and wide within the realm of your dreamscape, so long as it leads you back to me, your favorite, the great wizard, Farsil. Thank you for sticking with me. I haven't given up yet. But boy, am I fucking tired. And seriously, if you've made it this far, join the goddamn Discord if you haven't already. I am very easy to approach in there. You never know, you might just find me inside of a voice chat. There's actually a surprise inside of the stream I just did that's 6 hours long, about 30 minutes in, as someone had pointed out. I won't spoil the surprise for you. Come back and see me again soon. This is probably going to have a mildly... You know what I'm going to ask? Before we actually do go, if you've gotten this far, you've earned the right to throw in your few cents on this matter. What level of phrasing on a title is clickbait for the sake of clickbait? And what level of extra stuff on a title is less clickbait and more of a succinct descriptor as to what's going on? Now, I know obvious clickbait like, wow, the best for $60? No, you're not fucking going to get that from me. That's pathetic. Stop it. Now, instead, you might get something like, wow, okay, I'm impressed. Or, okay, that's a good value. Something to maybe summarize the gist. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Seriously, if you've gotten this far, you've more than earned the right to give me your brain thoughts. Give me some examples of what you think is acceptable. Air quotes here, clickbait, and unacceptable, air quotes, clickbait. I mean, the unacceptable should be really, really easy for me to figure out, considering I have a very low tolerance for that level of shenanigans. But yeah, tell me down below. And with that, we are officially done. See you in the next video, kids. Ready, set, move. Ugh.